It's Pear Deck. Uh, would you be able to say something? How long have you been using it? And personally, did you like it? And if you liked it, what could be the reason you were liking it? And if you think in our regular classroom is not going to be useful, can you sort of justify why you think, what makes you think it's not going to work?
Okay. Okay, so I've been using Pear Deck for, I suppose, 6 months since you had suggested I give it a go and try it. I really like Pear Deck, using Pear Deck in the classroom, and there are a few reasons. The first reason is that the students get sort of instant feedback, really, about how they're going. And that's one of the big things with teaching, is that we're always trying to give students effective feedback and feed forward, and there's never any time. We don't have time to give like 120 students feedback every day. It's impossible. So Pear Deck, for me, allows students to get that feedback at no extra work for me, which is wonderful. So what I also like is students can see where they are at compared to the rest of their classmates. And they can do it in a way that's really non-threatening, it's anonymous, so when they put their answers in, or their thinking in response to a question you've asked, it's shown on the projector, and they can get a sense of how they've gone compared to everyone else in the classroom. And that in itself can give an idea of what they need to do to take those next steps. It can help build confidence and self-esteem. So that's really powerful. And yeah, what else does it do?
Oh, well, let's get back to one of the technical issues. Some of the people might think PowerPoint and Peer Deck is similar.
Yeah.
So what's the point of moving into a completely different, presentation tool?
Okay, well, at first glances they can seem similar. If a teacher hasn't tried it, given it, really tried it and looked into it, then okay, it'll seem like PowerPoint or Socrative or something like that. But they are vastly different. I mean, PowerPoint is essentially just a presentation tool, and the teacher teaches from that. But Pear Deck, the students put their answers in, or their thinking into a response to a question, and then it gets displayed on the projector, and students can see what their classmates have said. You can just scroll through it, all different types of working out, and so questions are generated from that, discussion is generated from that. Could be the teacher can start it off, or other kids can start it off. So hugely different in terms of getting that feedback and generating discussion in the classroom. PowerPoint, as I said, is just a presentation tool. I think too, with Pear Deck, students they get to really see that learning is messy, and that it's not about getting this perfect and correct answer, that it's a process that we go through to learn, and a developmental process, and that Pear Deck can really show that to kids. They can actually see that, hey, that it's okay to get the wrong answer, not quite the right answer. They can see that that's actually really powerful and beneficial. You can generate discussion around a kid that's almost there, or a slightly different way of doing something, or a vastly different way of doing something. And so basically it empowers students, gives them confidence to respond in their own way, and to give their own voice to something, and not going to be put down. I think another experience I've had with Pear Deck, often with competitive things, students can sometimes put each other down and things like that, but I've never experienced that in Pear Deck. I've never experienced students laughing at others because they've got a wrong answer or anything like that. It's really positive, and yeah.
One of the thing in education, actually, when you are trying to sell a new application, new ideas, the teachers will come up with a pretty obvious question. They will ask us that, is it going to be good with struggling classes, underachieving class, or is it good for only advanced classes? That's one of the questions we got to respond to. What's your idea about it?
I think it's good for all classes because it will naturally be at the level it needs to be. Right? I mean, as long as the teacher asks the right questions, then the responses that come up will be from those kids in the classroom, from where they are at. So it actually doesn't matter what level you're at, as long as the teacher gets those questions, asks good questions, and they know their class. So you'll get in a class that struggles a bit more, the responses may not be as sophisticated. They may write less, but there should still be enough there that some discussion can be generated, and so each kid in that class can see what their peers are doing, and can see what the most complex responses and the answers in the class are, and the least. They get that idea of where their class sits and where they sit in their classroom. So no, I don't think the level of a kid matters.
Now back to one of the objectives of the school is reaching the top thinking level of SEIMA. Do you think using this application as a tool, we can reach the higher level of M and R?
Right, so modification and redefinition, right. Well, it's certainly modifying what we're doing, modifying our teaching. Is it redefinition? So that's sort of completely new things, isn't it, that we wouldn't have thought of without that technology. I think that in theory we could have done this sort of thing in the past, and we could certainly have done it with individual kids. You sit down, you have a discussion with them. But in practice, I think it's been very difficult. And so somewhere between modification and the lower end of redefinition, but certainly very, very powerful. I think we're able to put into practice maybe what we've known.
One of the selling point we must have when we are trying to sell technology to rest of the teachers, they will ask, can it be done without technology? That means, do we have to have Pear Deck, or is it just a fancy?
Well, I think it would be much slower. I mean, if we didn't have Pear Deck or something like that, we would have to collect all the ideas from students, get them in anonymously into a hat, and then write them on the board, or take them home and the teacher puts them into a PowerPoint and puts it there, or something like that, and present it the next day, and then have a discussion about it. And that'll be one question, but you can do that in 2 minutes with Pear Deck. So, that's what I'm saying about theoretically you can do it without it, but it makes it, it's not really feasible without something like that, I don't think so.
I think
you need it.
Today I'll stop there.
Yeah.
Because later on, when we have more questions, we'll come back. We'll have lots of discussion on Pear Deck. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Courtenay.
Pleasure.